This bracelet is about 150 years old because it belonged to my grandmother, Luella Cress. And here I am wearing it at 84, and surely, you know, she had it 25 or 30 or whatever number of years before then. You know, so this is old. It's ivory, and it's old. Grandmother Cress. What I do know is that in the civil rights movement, we thought, at least I thought, and there were probably some others, maybe everybody didn't think this, but we thought that if we could get white America to let us sit at the lunch counter, let us drink out the white people's water fountain, let us vote, let us even use the white people's outhouses. And that's crass. But we thought that if we could just make America let us even vote, that we would be free. We thought that. I did anyway. You know, we're going to struggle. We'll go to jail. We'll face the water hoses. We'll do all of these things to be and then we'll be free. That wasn't the answer. We didn't understand. We still don't understand. We don't understand what happened to us on the slave ships. We don't understand what happened to us on the plantations. We don't understand because those are such painful periods that we can't even allow ourselves to remember it. But there's not been one moment stop in time since the first African was put his first foot on a slave ship to now. There's been no stopping time. So everything is everything. So African Americans have to find a way of transforming themselves. We have to transform ourselves, and we don't necessarily know how to do that. See what I'm saying? And that can be done through education, because Carter G. Woodson talked about that. He talked about the miseducation of the Negro, that if you train, and he says this, if you train a man to go to the back door, he will go there. And if there is not one, he will cut one for himself. So we can't, the educational, it's just impossible almost broadly for the children of slave masters to create an educational system to free the slaves. They can't do it. So we have to figure it out ourselves. We have to understand who we are. We're afraid to even understand that we are from Africa, because Africa has been so demeaned, savages, cannibals, etc., etc. But I say, either you're from Africa or you're from slavery. Choose. Choose. You know who? Choose. But we have to embrace where we came from. We have to embrace ourselves. Children don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they're supposed to know. It's the educational system that informs them. A little kindergartner coming into this school, all anxious to learn and stuff. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. It's our responsibility to help those children. And America is failing because America has not yet looked at itself. What we did to the Native, well, I didn't do it, but what was done to the Native American people in America has to do with why we got to have guns right now. America's never not had guns because it started out with guns killing people to get their land. So are we teaching our children that? No. We're going to have little pictures of Thanksgiving, and some Puritans. Give me a break. So we can't get rid of the guns because we've always had to have guns to defend ourselves. At the same time, Lincoln was writing the so-called Emancipation Proclamation. They were killing Indians the same days, right at the same time. He was signing bills to go and kill the Indians. So, what is that? So the educational system is failing the country. It's failing everybody. And maybe that's why African Americans are here to say this, but it's taken us a long, hard time to get to understand it.
Our sister, Lorne Cress Love. Of course, the video would have given you the hand motions and the faces and the things that were distinctly her, but the truth and the wisdom is still there. And so we continue to rely on the culture bearers and the wisdom keepers around us. And we are so blessed to have with us today one of the original jazz men, noted poet A.B. Spellman.
Hello, Lorne lovers. She was very easy to love, wasn't she? Yeah, I don't know anybody who didn't love her, and I don't want to know anybody who didn't love her. I mean, except people who didn't know her. I'd say the Cress girls turned out pretty good, didn't they? Yeah. His sister did her best to try to shape a psychology that fit the black psyche. It was not some one-size-fits-all shrink session, but a session with, especially for young women, because she spent so many years at Howard, and which was built upon their lives, their identity, and their history. And everyone who ever dealt with it, whom I've ever spoken to, said it was miraculous. And then there was Lorne. In every way she possibly could, Lorne tried to advance the cause. Every day, behind that really sweet, soft smile, mischievous little look around her mouth, never raising her voice, always a chuckle in her heart, but a muscle in that chuckle, that helped shape the world as well as she could. I'm going to do a poem for you. It's not the one in the program. I'm going to do my funeral poem. It's called After Vallejo. I will die in Havana in a hurricane. It will be morning. I'll be facing southwest, away from the Gulf, away from the storm, away from home, looking to the virid hills of Matanzas, where the Orisha rise, lifted by congueros in masks of iron, bongoceros in masks of water, timbaleros in masks of fire, by all the clave that binds the rhythms of this world. I'll be writing when I go, revising another hopeful survey of my life. I will die of nothing that I did, but of all that I did not do. I promised myself a better self than I could make, and I will not forgive. You will be there, complaining that I never saved you, that I left you where you live, stranded in your own green dream. When you come for me, come singing, no dirge, but scat my eulogy in bebop code. Sing that I died among gods, but lived with no God and did not suffer for it. Find one true poem that I made and sing it to my shade as it fades into the wind. Sing it presto, in 4/4 time, in the universal ghetto key of B flat. I will die in Havana in rhythm. Tumbayo, Montuno, Guaguanco, dense strata of rhythm pulsing me away. And the mother of waters will say to the saint of crossroads, well, damn. He died since he danced his way out after all.
A.B. Spellman. From one A.B. to another, job well done. And I'm going to borrow that Lorne Lovers. I like that. Next, we know that Lorne spent 3 years of her life in Mississippi as part of the Mississippi Freedom Summers. And we're blessed to have with us two people who will talk about their experiences in Mississippi with Lorne. The first will be our dear friend Frank Smith, and then we will hear from an audio recording of Marimba Ani. Frank?
I won't tell you what I just whispered in A.B. Spellman's ear, because I'm in the church. And I celebrated communion this morning at my church, and I might lose my religion or my religious standing if I tell you what I said. But I did know Lorne in the Mississippi Delta. And I'm not the only one here who knew her in the Mississippi Delta. I know Karen is here. Any other people from SNCC in the house? And let me just say, it wasn't easy getting around with Lorne in the Mississippi Delta because, you had to be scared to survive in Mississippi. You had to live in a scared posture. That meant you didn't take any unnecessary chances, and you had to know when to stop talking when the sheriff pulled his gun out. And Lorne didn't have any of those qualities. If it came up, it came out. She didn't care who was listening. I remember one time we were in Greenwood, And we pull up at this little cafe. It was in the afternoon, about 3 or 4 o'clock. I was driving. I knew we were being followed by the cops. So I pulled up, got out of the car. And just before I opened the door of the car, this cop shot a dog that was right over there. He shot him with a shotgun. If you've never heard a shotgun blast go off, it can put you back in your place real fast. And when I asked this cop if he was shooting at me, he said, no. He said, if I'd been shooting at you, you would have been like that dog over there. And then here come Lorne around on the other side. What you doing shooting at us? Now, brothers, you know, black people, we think we're supposed to defend our women. Get between them and danger. I was taught that coming up in Georgia. You know, it's hard to do sometimes when you're trying to survive, just trying to register a few voters and get out of here alive. But you had to love her. And I guess they looked at her and said, she don't know no better. But I said, you know, from now on, I'm traveling with Lorne at night. If something coming at me, I don't want to see it. But I did want to say that we all loved her. We all had a good time with her. And I saw her. She called me a few weeks before she left Washington to go back to Chicago. She was living up there in her sister's house trying to dispose of everything. And she had sold the house, but she wasn't ready to move. She had sold it with a clause in it that said the house had to be delivered empty. So she called me and asked me to stop by to help her. I walked in this house. I said, hey, I can't help you, sister. She hadn't touched a thing. She just couldn't do it. So she had somebody that was trying to help her. I said, I'll be back. So I got in my car and went to Maryland to see my daughter. Nothing I could do to help her. But I did remember something to her that I want to share with you. You all know I run the African American Civil War Memorial in D.C. I've got 209,000 names of African American soldiers who fought in the Civil War. 209,000 names. We don't know most of those names, probably know about 4,000 or 5,000 descendants of these soldiers. But one day, Frances Cress called me up and told me she had something for me. She had gone to Chicago, and her uncle had told her that when she came back to Washington, he wanted her to bring some money over, $2,000 actually, for the African American Civil War Memorial, because one of those names on that wall was a Sergeant Griffin. He was Lorne and her sister Francis's great-great-great-grandfather. Now, he knew that. They didn't know that. Lorne didn't know it at the time, and I didn't know it either until they told me. But then I went back and found his little pamphlet about him. But he wanted his name on the roll. He knew that he came from a family of fighting people who had fought for their freedom. He was in the 59th Illinois. This is one of those regiments that was in Richmond, surrounding Grant. They actually went to Texas as part of the Juneteenth program. This was a bad set of dudes here. He loved this man so much, he had put a little statue up, a little monument next to his funeral home. They own a funeral home over there in Chicago, next to the name. And he wanted to make sure that we had recorded it here in Washington, D.C. And so when I told Lauren the story, she said, well, how come he didn't send it by me? I said, well, I don't know why he didn't send it by you. Maybe he didn't think you knew anything about this. But she wanted credit for it because she knew that this was one way to recognize her family and all of the things that they had done. And so I just wanted to say today that Lauren and I, we did a little bit our part in the Mississippi Delta to try to make something happen there to get some people registered to vote. And why did we do that? Because we thought that if we could change Mississippi, we could change America. Until they treat people right in Mississippi, they're not going to treat black people right in America. They're not. They're not going to treat us right. And as long as those people down there continue to use those state governments and other things against us, and we can't do anything about it, we're not going to be free here in this country. And so we have to keep fighting until freedom comes for everybody. And so I wanted to just say in the name of Lauren and her family that she followed in a great tradition. I'm happy to have spent a little time with her myself over there in the Mississippi Delta. Glad we both were able to survive and be able to talk about it. Not everybody did. And so I'm happy to, actually, last time I saw AB, we had a birthday party, her 89th birthday party up at the Busboys and Poets. So we got to see her at a good time, and she waxed eloquently up for 3 hours up there that day. So we had a good time with her. May God continue to bless her spirit. May God continue to bless spirit of freedom, and may God continue to bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank, for those remarks. And I'm going to talk to you later to find out what you told AB, because I want to know. The next voice we'll hear will be that of our own Sister Marimba Ani.
Sister Lorne lived a life of commitment to African people. Her voice was to be heard, always advocating for our rights and well-being. Sister Lorne had foresight, which put her ahead of most of us, as she organized WPFW, a radio station giving voice to Black political perspectives and connecting the Black community. She had the courage to be out front in her choices and the humility to do the necessary hard work behind the scenes. Sister Lorne was a person of character who made sacrifices and took actions in our behalf that promised neither fame nor financial reward. She didn't seek public acknowledgement or popularity. She remained in the background, yet on the front lines. Sister Lorne was a soldier.
Sister Lorne was a soldier. Sister Lorne was a soldier. This we knew, and all of us have given witness to that in one way or another. So, scholar intellect Marimba Ani mentioned WPFW, and this is one of the great loves of Lorne's life. Every time I had a conversation with Lorne, regardless of how many hours it was, at the end of the conversation, some kind of way, she said, and you know, Sandra Rattley, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z for WPFW. And it's like, Lorne, I gotta go. Not that I don't love WPFW also, but you know what I mean. She was just constantly advocating for WPFW. And so we wanted some folks to really reflect on the history of WPFW and the way in which Lorne really did shape the mission and actually change the city as a result. So, you know, there's a person who was the first person on the air at WPFW. You know what I'm saying? The person who kicked it off. And so we are so blessed and grateful that he is here today. We are so grateful that Von Martin, Caribbeana, is here with us. And also the general manager that followed Lorne in linear time, who has had also a very, very important, made an important mark on WPFW. We also are so blessed to have Marita Rivera with us as well. So please welcome both of them up here to the mic.
As we celebrate our sister Lorne, we bid her fond farewell. May peace accompany her. May grace go before her. May love surround us as joy accompanies us in our celebration of her journey. Hello everyone, I'm Von Martin, one of the founding programmers on WPFW FM radio. I don't like to take that because it wasn't me alone. I feel blessed to be here with you personally today. At this stage, I say I'm growing old gracefully. Lorne was indeed a beautiful person. My first encounter with her was about 47 years ago, when I requested to do a program on this new Pacifica Foundation radio station here in the nation's capital. This station was for us Black people in DC to highlight our music and cultural expressions through jazz and jazz extensions. My friend, the late Carl Ferguson of WOOK-FM in Washington, suggested I talk to Lorne about doing a program of my design. When I got Lorne's number, I called her immediately. And she told me that she was the public affairs director of the station, and I needed to speak with Denise Oliver, the program director. She told me it was not her responsibility to assign slots. I felt happy talking to Lorne. She exhibited friendliness and immediate acceptance, as though I was already one of the crew. I contacted Denise, and the rest is history. Lorne and I continued a wonderful friendship throughout the years. We talked a lot. It was a challenge in those days at the station, working with a variety of diverse individuals who had varied agendas and varied political and social philosophies, which needed to fit under the umbrella of jazz and jazz extensions. I enjoyed communicating with Lorne and her sister, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. They had a certain power between them. Lorne and I continued our friendship throughout the years. We spoke regularly on many occasions. She asked for my suggestions about some new persons who requested to become programmers. Lorne's character was exemplary. She often acknowledged guests I had on my program, Caribbeano. We spoke about people like Kwame Ture, then Stokely Carmichael, and Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, even the mighty Sparrow, Calypso King of the World, and we would laugh. Today I regret that I did not fully realize the love and support Lorne afforded me. A few years ago, when I launched my book, Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago at Sankofa Bookstore, sitting in the front row was my friend Lorne Cress Love. I was near tears, for I just never thought that Lorne would have been there for me. You see, she felt proud of being a part of my progress through the years. Another icon who was just a couple seats behind her was Askia Muhammad. Lorne was a great supporter to those in the struggle as she came out of that mold in the SNCC and the heart of the Black struggle. One just knew she had it in her. Brothers and sisters, her legacy remains in us all at WPFW FM radio. I thank Lorne for her contributions to my life as I continue to educate, entertain, and enlighten. I now pass this legacy on to the next generation. Rest well, my sister Lorne. Lay in peace. Von Martin.
So good afternoon. We're gathered here in this very welcoming space to celebrate a lovely person. I've lived in the Boston area now for many years, but Lorne and I met here about 1977, 78, and connected most through our work at WPFW. And in that regard, I want to mention two things about Lorne: her voice and her passion. Lorne could talk. You might start out for a brief conversation over here and wind up 2 hours later over there. And she had a talent for it, right? Her eyes might smile or flash, right? That wonderful mobile face could change to charm, to tease, to harass. All the while, she'd be talking. She had the gift for verbal communication. She used her voice to back down people who deserved to be backed down and to inspire us when we needed that. WPFW was in an early and very tender stage when she agreed to step in and take on the general manager role. So she used that voice, she used her voice and cleared the brush so that station could continue to grow and develop on its own. Her second gift to WGBH was her heart and passion. Our community deserved to have its voice heard. Heard, I want to say, across a range of artistic, community, and political considerations. It's hard to believe now, but WPFW was the first public radio licensed to a city that was managed by Black people, the first in the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lorne's clarity and charge about the mission of this station could move people. We were here, volunteers, tiny paid staff, financial supporters, to add Black voices and the missing voices of our larger community to the collective knowledge of this area. People of color, queer, immigrant, musician, incarcerated, feminist, laborer, and so forth. We were here to create the full American story, to empower the community. Radio is engaging, and people can get lost in the creative celebrity side of it, the self-aggrandizement, the fun, the self-importance, my title, my show, my board work. None of that is the heart of WPFW's founding vision. This station is a vehicle to celebrate Black culture, our shared humanity, the value of a community to participate in governance, and together to fight for that. This is what Lorne held up in front of us and the city, what she held up in front of the Pacifica National Staff, its national board. She was a teacher and a warrior. Lorne, I celebrate your vision, your dynamism, and your leadership. Ashe.
Thank you, Marita. When Lorne came back to DC in the 1970s, it was a turbulent time, also a time of great promise. Lorne brought her organizing skills from Mississippi, and Lorne's influence was felt beyond WPFW. Her approach to public affairs at WPFW affected the whole city. So based on her example, we all had to go into the streets to ensure that the voices and aspirations of our people were heard. She really let us know, and I was just talking to my colleague, Nyani Kilkenny, who was with me, WPFW Public Affairs Director, and Claude Matthews is here. He did the Harambe TV show with Carol Randolph on Channel 9. All of us were affected by Lorne. By making it clear the conditions of Black people in this city and around the nation required more than public service announcements, y'all. We really needed to use the vehicles that we had to make sure that information was something that helped promote change. So someone who exemplified that is the former editorial director of WRC Channel 4, Angela Owens, who we will hear from next.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are, gathered one more time to declare our love, our admiration, our respect, and for many of us to say our last goodbyes to those who have been so important in our lives. And today, here we are to celebrate the mighty, I call her mighty, Lorne Cress love. I met Lorne when I was very early in my career. She was helping a woman, an elderly woman, to find resources to try to stay in her home. I covered that story. Lorne was working to try to keep her in her home. I believe she had lived in her home for many, many years as a renter, and she was about to lose the place she had spent a great part of her life. So that was the first time I met Lorne Cresslove. But I came to know her mainly through her work with WPFW. Three years and 8 months ago, Lorne Cresslove stood in this jazz-loving church on this very platform to tell an abbreviated story of the shared history of WPFW and an energetic, community-involved and jazz-infused substance abuse treatment program named RAP Incorporated. Well, I do need my glasses, so I better put them on. Well, in addition to providing treatment, RAP served the community, meeting a range of needs such as providing fresh vegetables, clothing, free legal referrals, after-school activities for the kids, educational movie nights, and even hot meals to community folks who stopped by the facility on Willard Street, Northwest. From the first thought seed, Lorne believed that WPFW should be a voice for the community, as well as a home for the music. In solidarity with that purpose, Lorne and Ron Clark, RAP's co-founder, became great friends in the struggle to help WPFW survive and fulfill its mission. And that's how I got to know Lorne very well, through her relationship with Ron and RAP, and in those early days of the struggle. So without saying more at this point, Lorne picks up the story from here.
So I don't have time, they're not gonna give me time to tell you all these stories, but the RAP story is deep. Because we were a part of the Pacifica Foundation, and because we were the only black station, or trying to be that, in the Pacifica Foundation, and because we decided that our music was going to be jazz, the Pacifica Foundation stepped away from us in many ways. So we rented a space at 1030 15th Street Northwest. Now this was just going to be a meeting place, not a radio station. But when people started finding out about us and our politics, not just the music, but the Pacifica politics, which was really revolutionary, they didn't want us on the air. So at some point, they were putting us out of 1035th Street, 15th Street Northwest. And we started looking for a place to have the station. And we tried a lot of different places. But every time we would find a place that seemed like we could rent, and we didn't have a lot of money, when we got there to even sign a contract, there were all these additions that had never been agreed upon. And we were to be evicted, I think, on November, first part of November. So people are saying, you want us to do what? Well, it is funny. We were having a meeting, and so Ron Clark said, well, if you can't find any place else, we have, maybe you can use the wrap shop. And we didn't know what the wrap shop was. And he said, well, it's, you know, it's where we sell clothes and we have community meetings. And so we finally had to agree, okay, the wrap shop. Well, some people know what the wrap shop was. It was a little grocery store, and or had been a grocery store. And so when we went in there the first day, I guess we would have said, you want us to do what? About the second day that we were in the wrap shop, a rodent that had died decided to, you know, completely decompose. And so there was this odor rafting through the wrap shop and WPFW. But it saved our lives because we didn't have a lot of money and we would not have been almost really able to survive had we not gotten there. As a matter of fact, I think it was Max Roach who came one day, and this was just it was literally a grocery store, and on U Street, right across the street almost from the fire station. So on some of our early tapes, behind people talking about important issues in Washington, D.C., there would be a fire engine and bell going down the street. But it saved WPFW's life. It saved WPFW for jazz, because as PFW was coming on the air, jazz was leaving the District of Columbia. And what has happened for that music in this city, we can say thank you to WPFW and thank you, Ron Clark.
Yes. Wow. And WPFW stayed in what had been a little grocery store on U Street at Florida Avenue for several years, rent-free, until WPFW got on its feet and was able to find better quarters. And like the struggle, the friendship between WPFW and RAP Incorporated continued, with RAP being available to help WPFW however it was needed, from answering the phones to helping in the programming arena to paying pledges. I'm honored to have been asked to bring you this little piece of the kind of work that Lorne was able to do, the relationships that she stitched together, almost like the safety net for her beloved WPFW. I'm honored, and I'm so glad to be here to celebrate all that she was, all that she brought to us, and all that we will continue to benefit from as her work ripples through the years. Thank you.
So I'm going to talk about Lorne's personal business now. Lorne always had really, really, really close relationships with men.
Amen.
She always had friends. Some of them, may have been more than friends. But I want to introduce two men who were really close friends and supporters of Lorne's, and really can exemplify and talk about what a good friend she was to them as well. So I want to introduce Yofi. Tell me how to say your last name. Dzidzienyo, who's related to Dr. Welsing's Ghanaian husband, and also Anthony Jones, a confidant of Lorne's and member of the Cress Welsing Institute of Psychiatry and Social Research. Yofi and Anthony.
Greetings, everyone. Before I continue, I'd like to ask for permission from my elders to continue speaking. Santi Sana, thank you very much. Whew. If I break down today, forgive me. When I can say that I don't know what to say, and I haven't since that day in February. But what I can say is that Great Aunt Lorne passed on a lot of wisdom to many of us, and that she believed in three things, many things, but three things in particular that stood out to me. One was to love thyself. And if you haven't already purchased your copy of Love Thyself by Lawrence Crane, please go out and do that before Mama Lorne comes back and reminds you to do so if you haven't had that conversation with her. She always impressed upon us that was something she wanted all of us to do for ourselves, to be our best selves. She made sure that was a part of the pledge that the students at Woodlawn Community School made to themselves every morning. And she talked about the reminder and the commitment of the students to not only always do your best work, but to know that you were enough. And that everything that you did, you put forth your whole self. And she made sure that those young people loved themselves. And she bragged about how in 20 years, there were only 2 fights at the Woodlawn Community School, which I thought was amazing. I felt like I had more fights than that with my brothers and sisters just getting up in the morning. So I said, in 20 years, wow, Aunt Lorne, that's great. She reminded me of my favorite storyteller and timekeeper, the great John Henrik Clarke, who used to always tell us, and paraphrasing the great J. Saunders Redding, the history is like a clock. It tells a people where they have been and what they have been, who they are and what they are, but most importantly, where they still must go and what they still must be. And nobody exemplified that more than Great Aunt Lorne. She was a person that kept the memory, she kept the flame, and she kept it burning inside of all of us. If you know, and we've all been on those long conversations with Great Aunt Lorne that literally would last for hours, but were so valuable. And she would tell the stories of who she was, her family history, and she made sure that memory was something that we kept, that we knew who we were, that we knew our family history, we knew where we came from, because she was so proud of that, and she wanted us to be proud of that as well. And she would share those stories. She loved to laugh, and she loved to laugh more than I realized until I went back and thought about some of our conversations. I remember one story she told about her uncle when he took over the Griffin Funeral Home. And she said that my uncle would go and visit families before the funeral. And she said that he would go and comfort them and make sure, knowing that funerals are often a tough time for us as a people. We're very celebratory and we love our folks. But he would go and spend time with them before the funeral, comfort them and love them. And she said it wasn't because he was so endeared to the family necessarily, but because he wanted to make sure that on the day of the funeral, they didn't fall all over the casket, messing up his craftsmanship and his good work. Mama Lorne was something else. She knew how to weave a story together that seemingly, and I remember Dr. Clark saying this, that where he begins a story may not be where he ends, but it all ties together. Aunt Lorne was the same way. I remember one particular conversation where I believe she started off talking about the black communists that helped Elijah Muhammad found the final call. We moved to McCarthyism and the HUAC. We talked about Baba Ron Clark and rap. And then I think 3 minutes later, we were discussing Dianetics and Ron Hubbard. We talked about so many things. We talked about the childhood nightmares of Harold Pates. We talked about her may or maybe not briefly dating the great Anderson Thompson. We talked about so many things, in one conversation. I remember thinking to myself, and how much money did I pay for college tuition? Because I learned more in that one conversation than in any sociology or psychology, history, social studies class, And I said, this is a marvelous, marvelous woman. And I emphasize again that she loved to laugh. My favorite story that she told me was about when she discovered she was lactose intolerant. And how, at the time that she was married to Ed Love, that his kids had come down and spent some summertime with him, and that she bought Breyer's ice cream. And she had some ice cream and realized her stomach was upset, and she wasn't really feeling well, so she went to the clinic. And she said she spoke with the doctor, and the doctor said, oh, just take some mineral oil, it'll fix you up. And she asked the doctor, well, doc, do you think that an enema would be good? And he looked at her and said, oh, no. We want things to come down, not go up. So she said, now, Yofi, I come from a family of physicians. And she said, I looked at that man with that look, and I thought to myself, he better give me that enema real quick, because being with him is going to get me in some deep doo-doo. Mama Lorne was somebody special. She was love. She was everything. She was everything to me. And I just want to thank you all for being here. Those of you who are in attendance and those of you who are watching online, for sharing your love and your appreciation and putting out this positive energy toward great Aunt Lorne. She was someone we will never forget. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is an honor to share with you a few examples, just a few examples of Mama Lorne's great teachings. Lorne's immense intellectual strength allowed her to impart mighty pearls of wisdom to countless generations, younger and older. Brother Yofi mentioned the pledge of respect, and I'd like to share that with you. We didn't coordinate this, but it was perfect timing. It goes like this. I am a smart, special, and valuable person. I respect myself and I respect others. My words and actions are kind and honest. I accept only the best in all that I do. I am proud to be me. All that I need is inside of me. I am a beautiful black child. Now that's a pledge. This powerful affirmation is recited daily by the brilliant students at Lorne's Woodlawn Community School in Chicago. Mama Lorne had this voice. Her voice had this distinctive resonance, especially when she recited the Hey Black Child poem written by her friend and renowned poet Yesenia Perkins. Lorne taught that having purpose is critical to our existence. Her ideas brought us to that mystical gateway point where spirit merges with body, emotions, and mind. She taught that we must rise above the limitations of our humanness, that we're not merely human beings having a human experience. No, Mama Lorne taught us that we are immortal spiritual we're immortal spiritual beings having a human experience. Lorne relentlessly pursued vitality with these little bottles of liquid oxygen and Dianetic technology, but she simultaneously taught us about the needless fear of dying. She taught that death is just a transition, a portal to the next stage of life's totality, that the body's but a mere jumpsuit made of stardust, and that the entire universe lives within us. Lorne taught that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, and that love is at the core of it all. She was literally and legally Miss Love. Miss Love introduced us to the love yourself technique, how to give yourself approval and to let the other person have it your way. And this is based on Lawrence Crane's Love Yourself book that Yofi referenced earlier. Now, she probably mailed this to you or had me mail each one of you a copy of this book. Mama Lorne's greatest gift to me was the Zulu Personal Declaration from the 1800s. It is the quintessential value system of the Zulu people, of what it means to be human. The centuries-old Zulu philosophy provides today's generation with a roadmap for creating a harmonized society. You can find the full, unabridged version of the Zulu Personal Declaration in this book, Conflict of Minds by Jordan Ngubane. In closing, Lorne's teachings profoundly transformed how many of us see ourselves and the universe. Through Mama Lorne, I learned that we do not find the meaning of life by ourselves, but we find it with and through one another. And this was that special bond that she and I shared. Ashe. Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Sister Sabrina Johnson on behalf of the Cress Welsing Institute. But before we start, I'd like to recognize some of the longtime students, and I see several of you in the audience. Could you stand really quickly or raise your hand just to be acknowledged? All the Cress Welsing Institute? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Just to give you a little background, it was nearly 40 years ago that Lorne's sister and renowned psychiatrist, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, established a monthly lecture series on the campus of Howard University. The Cress Welsing Institute of Psychiatry and Social Research continues its important mission, meeting on the second Thursday of every month from September through June. Mama Lorne supported the Cress Welsing Institute and was a regular participant. Now, let's hear this audio clip from my dear sister, Sabrina Johnson.
Peaceful greetings. These solemn sentiments are shared in the spirit of honoring the sojourn of an extraordinary emeritus African institution builder, healer, thought leader, soldier for justice, Mama Lorne Cress Love. We offer resounding Asante Sana for your courageous community organizing and service to secure civil rights in the Deep South, participating in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee as a young activist facing physical, emotional, psychological, mental threats, and even spiritual assaults, yet working tirelessly to uplift the dignity of brothers and sisters and stand shoulder to shoulder, knowing that we are one. Asante Sana for your exceptional, visionary, pioneering leadership as a founder of WPFW Radio, the community-supported Jazz and Justice flagship People's Oasis for relevant news and analysis and soul-stirring musical libations with unmatched longevity, feeding the minds and spirits of our people in Washington, D.C. and beyond. Asante Sana, for sharing your experience-based science of healing, including alternative approaches and modalities to reveal root-level dysfunction and rebuild ourselves to be whole and in balance. Asante Sana, for your unwavering commitment to provide loving support for your beloved mother in her sunset years as her devoted caregiver, reciprocating the investments that shaped the magnificent Cress girls. Asante Sana, for planting seeds for a harvest of Black excellence as a founder of Woodlawn Community Elementary School in Chicago, to develop in our children academic excellence in reading, language arts, math, science, social studies, and technology use through an integrated instructional framework that fosters a strong sense of self through an African-centered curriculum. We say Asante Sana for your lasting support for the Cress Welsing Institute, both in its early years at Harambe House and in its more recent incarnation since Dr. Welsing journeyed to the ancestral realm, actively participating and inspiring deep thought and analysis while inspiring us all. Asante Sana, Mama Lorne. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Let us look to Mama Lorne's life example in cultivating Black self-respect and striving for excellence in all that we do. In African love and victory for justice, I am Sabrina Johnson with Anthony Jones and Danny Queen on behalf of the Cress Welsing Institute of Psychiatry and Social Research.
As has been stated previously, Lorne loved to talk, but she also loved to sing. And I'd like to share with you a brief recording of Lorne singing. One of her favorite pieces to talk about was about the Zulu Declaration. And I'm going to share with you a brief song that was recorded in Lorne's kitchen. And she's singing the Zulu Warrior Camp Song, as only Lorne can sing it.
Chief, see him there, the Zulu warrior. See him there, the Zulu chief, chief, chief. And then you just keep singing. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Zaya. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Z. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Zaya. I come a Zimba, Zimba, Z.
So yes, Lorne was a folk singer. She had a guitar, and during her days in Mississippi and organizing, she sang along with some of the freedom singers, and she understood the power of liberatory song in terms of inspiration. And so we acknowledge her as not just an organizer, but a folk singer. And we at this moment just want to move into the actual experience of liberatory song. And we are really blessed to have with us today a young woman in our community who has already got an illustrious history. Many of us are extremely proud of a singing group that appeared on national TV, Afro Blue, that represented Howard University. The sister was a critical member of that organization, and she is now emerging in her own right as a solo artist, has composed and recorded a number of songs. And so I just want you all to put your hands together. And first, let me just say that Lorne's favorite vocalist was Nina Simone. For all the right reasons. And so we have asked this astounding vocalist to not just expose us to her personal repertoire, but also to share with us a couple of really important songs of Nina Simone to help to keep Lorne close to our hearts, but also to be inspired for the work that all of us need to do in our own liberatory spaces ahead. So please welcome to the stage Owolabi and her group. What's your band's name, sis? Okay, you can introduce them. Okay, all right. Please give it up for Io.
Thank you for having me on this very, special day. I have been inspired, I'm honored, and speechless a little, to hear about such a wonderful, powerful legacy as a Howard alum. And being on WPFW myself, learning the history of this amazing station and just how it's impacted my life, it really is a pleasure. And so, here we go. No complaints and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets. But I had learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you've got. I had my share. I drank my fill. And even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still to see what's down another road, another hill, and do it all again. So here's to life and every joy it brings. And here's to life, the dreamers and their dreams. Funny how time just flies. Our love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes and leave you with the memories you've memorized to keep your winters warm. For there's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I am still in the game I want to play, for life's for love. So here's to life and every joy it brings. So here's to life, the dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love,
gets good, get better. So here's to life. Here's to love. Here's to you.
Yes. So, in terms of young, gifted, and Black, y'all, we know Lorne loved Black children because she knew they were gifted, and she often talked about how they needed to be introduced to African history and culture when they were very, very young. She supported African-centered education as early as pre-K, and there's a notice in your program, and we are here specifically to encourage you to put the sentiment you may be feeling now into action by considering to make a donation by writing a check to the Woodlawn Community School. The Woodlawn Community School was founded by Lorne in 1996. She started off with pre-K classes and expanded to a full curriculum from pre-K to sixth grade. The school calls itself the Maroons. This is an elementary school, y'all, that calls itself the Maroons. And the school invests heavily in preparation for college as well as community service. So folks are moving around with baskets. If you see it in your heart to write a check to the Woodlawn Community School, we would greatly appreciate it. And we're not just talking about it. We have some folks who are here that actually know about the Woodlawn Community School firsthand. I would like to introduce you all to a Woodlawn Community School graduate, Journee Lockridge, and a former teacher at Lorne School, Renee Saluhuddin. So please welcome Renee and Journee to the mic.
Hi, my name is Journee Lockridge. I am a former student of Woodlawn Community School, and I'm also a Howard graduate as well. So, HU. Yeah, oh yeah, graduated magna cum laude, which Lonnie wants you to say. Yeah, but I'm also a testament of Mama Love's dedication and impact in the Chicago community. I met Mama Love when I was in kindergarten. I was about 7 to 8 years old, and since the first day I met her, she has always been an undeniable force and present in my life. While at Woodlawn, when Mama Love would see me, she would always say, "You're gonna be somebody," or "You're gonna change the world." And when I was young, I didn't really understand what she meant by that. I could never even imagine or envision the person that she wanted me to be, the somebody she wanted me to be. But whenever we talked with each other, she'd always assured me that I am somebody and that I will continue to grow and evolve. Mama Love created a school that helped to lay the foundation of my life. Being at Woodlawn, I learned so much about the culture and where I come from. I gained so much wisdom. Woodlawn helped to instill in not only me, but children of a generation with so many principles that help to mold us into young men and women that we are today. Since I was a little girl, I have carried with me the principles of Mayat: truth, justice, harmony, balance, order, reciprocity, and respect. One that was added in for us while I was at Woodlawn. Principles that we recite during the morning ritual that served as a reminder of who we are and what we stood on. The morning ritual is the one of many memorable and important traditions of Woodlawn Community School. One of the others was the annual Rites of Passage, a trip where we followed the path of the Underground Railroad from Detroit to Canada and had our Rites of Passage ceremony. Both were life-changing experiences that I owe to Mama Love. I remember having a conversation with her about the entire Rites of Passage experience and sharing with her. It was the first time I truly felt the definition of Sankofa. It was really a full circle moment as a Woodlawn student. It helped me to truly understand who I am. And when I would tell Mama Love this, she would always respond, yes. And she was just so proud. And that assured me that I took away the right things from it. Mama Love believed in us so much. Every time we talked on the phone, she would encourage me on every endeavor. Sometimes I felt like she had a little too much faith in me. I remember one time we were discussing the conflicts and challenges the students were having at Howard University with administration. And I remember what she told me. She said, you know what you should do? You should gather a bunch of students and protest. And I said, me? But that just shows that Mama Love believed so much in all of her students. Mama Love was a well of limitless wisdom, and she was the matriarch of Woodlawn. And I am so blessed to have experienced her because without her, I wouldn't be the Journee I am today. And I will pass it to Ms. Saluhuddin.
I feel like one of my table mates is hard to follow. It's a hard act to follow. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Very happy and blessed and pleased.
Did you say you were tired?
Yeah, I'm really tired.
So I don't know if you all remember at Dr. Walsing's memorial when Lorne got tired.
Browder to the rescue.
Renee was the one who came and bought.
That was the one. Go ahead. Think I want?
Came and bought Lorne some liquid oxygen.
Liquid
oxygen. We're just carrying on Lorne's tradition. You feeling better, sister?
Woo! Very happy to be here. It's just an honor because she gave so much, even though it was like lots of phone calls. And even when she was here, she would call me, what's the school doing? What they doing? Now you're not going to tell her the whole truth. But I told her, we're still doing that, but we can't add another thing to the morning ritual, Ms. Love. We can't. We got the pledge of respect. We got the Maya. We got the ABCs of, what was it? Self-esteem. And if we just add one, we can't do his book. Hey, Black child, I'm like, the principal told me to tell you that we won't be doing that. So we did it in our classroom, so every student knows that. You know who you are, you know who you can be. They know, hey, Black child. I met Miss Love, and Sandy always said, why you say Miss Love? Because I met her as Miss Love, and she was developing the foundation for the school, and they were planning this meeting, and I was a member of the staff of Erickson Institute, Early Childhood. And we would go out and consult. And so that was before I was a teacher, I was a consultant. So I would consult, and she said, well, what do you think about this teacher? And what do you think about that? So we had an opportunity to have some, an interview with her to ask her what she wanted to plan and do with that school. So I was really excited. So some years passed, and I didn't see Lorne for a while. And I was training people in a responsive classroom. And she invited me to the school. Little did I know that I would be working there some years after that. So I was there, and I remember, our principal is the instructional leader. So Lorne would instruct the leader all the time. She was in the office and said, you can't go in there, Miss Love's in there. You cannot go in there, And the principal, and she would, see the faces. And that was about the curriculum and the library and the resources. So she was hands-on. I mean, she was in the classroom. She hired the first teachers. So that was lovely. My friend Venus Akbar. And I said, oh, yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good choice. Been knowing her for years. So moving right along, I got to Woodlawn. The principal, he came and said, Ms. Saluhuddin, I want you to come do our preschool department. I said, well, that's good. I was a little tired of traveling and consulting. There's a lot of travel because I have so many children. I have a lot of children, personal children. So, I decided to do that. And Mr. and Bill, I got there, I said, well, the best room for the preschool department or the first class should be back there with the teacher's lounge with all the pop machines and the big tables. We need that space because a classroom size, you have to have 35 square feet for each child, So he said, well, that's Miss Love's little office back there. He said, I don't know. I said, hold it. You mean I got to go talk to her? Are you scared? So I went to talk to her, and she said, by all means, no. This is my space. All my stuff is here. I said, yeah, Miss Love, you know, we need this space. We have a lot of paperwork. We have to have an office with parents, and we have to have room for the kids. So she said, huh, and that was it. So one day when she was not there, I moved her stuff to another room. You know I was living dangerous. So she didn't speak to me for about a month. And I would just tell her, see, I still love you. And then once she told me about the book, Love Yourself, I said, you know, you were not loving me. So we laugh about that. So we spent many hours together. She was consulting the teachers. She also was the head of the after-school program, the first after-school program. She helped with the library and books. She made sure we had the assemblies for King and any other holiday, Juneteenth, all of them. We had those in our school. Also making sure we had she was our historian, live. She remembered names. I said, well, what about this in this book? She said, that's not true. His name was Haile Selassie, and he did this. And I said, okay. So we had to redo the curriculum many times in our classrooms based on her information and her input. So the library now at Woodlawn is going to be dedicated to Miss Love, and we're excited about that. So all the books and the authors, and she always tried to get people to come from Inner City Studies as a school. Yeah, you know about that, right? All her friends, Anderson Thompson and a few other ones. And I should see her often in the restaurants. She had a man on each side. I'm sorry, Anthony, I'm sorry. And so me and my sister said, what? I said, she got them all. What can I tell you? So it was an honor and a privilege to be in her company. She always, every time I talked to her, I learned something new, every time. And there are things I didn't know, and I'd go back and do research, and I'd ask her. But I always learned something. You know how valuable it is to be around someone's company, that you always learn something new, even if it's about yourself? Of course, I love my book. I got 2 of them. Love Yourself and Let Others Have It Your Way. And sometimes I would remind her when she would get mad at certain people, I'd say, Miss Love. So I had the honor of really being close with her and almost living with her the last 11 months of her life. She was one, she loved cheeseburgers. And I was like, so, and Coke, just so you know. So I was, she's gotten thin. I was worried about it. I said, you got to get something, besides that. So I'm here to tell you that I bought her a milkshake. And the next evening, she was gone. So we spent a lot of time together. It was my pleasure and honor, and I wanted to share that with you. And she remembered all y'all, because we talked about the radio station, the school, all the history, some of your personal stuff that I will not divulge. But what comes up, comes out. So Lorne, known as Mama Love, continues to serve and teach us from beyond. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you, Journee. Again, all of you have the opportunity. If you can't do it now, feel free to do it later. You can mail a check to Woodlawn Community School to continue Mama Lorne's work.
For the thousands who are watching this service online and who would like to make a contribution to the school and to the library, address your check, please, to the Woodlawn Community School and mail that check to 6657 South Kimbark Avenue, Kimbark Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60637.
Thank you so much. So the example of education that Lorne Cress Love created is an important one that we want to make sure continues to grow. So please feel free to support, send your check or give your donation to Woodlawn Community School. So as we are continuing in the liberatory space, we basically have got another real treat at this time, and that is, as we said, Nina Simone was Lorne's favorite artist. So next up, I would like to introduce someone who we refer to as an astral soul goddess. And I'm talking about the one and only Navasha Daya. Navasha is a treasure of the DMV. She often tours with Sweet Honey and the Rock and Three Generations. She has her own band. She co-founded the acclaimed Baltimore soul jazz band Fertile Ground. She is a gifted singer, songwriter, producer, and committed arts activist. She is my sister. I love her, and you all do too, as I can tell. So please give a big warm welcome to Navasha Daya.
Peace and love, everybody. I wrote a song, I did a song during the Freddie Gray murder in Baltimore, and I redid Mississippi Goddamn to Baltimore Goddamn. And so I'm gonna do a little mixture of that right now, okay. The name of this tune is Baltimore Goddamn, and I mean every word of it. New York got me so upset. Ferguson makes me lose my rest. Now everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. Florida got me so upset. Chicago makes me lose my rest. Now everybody knows about Baltimore, goddamn. Can't you see it? Can't you feel it? It's all in the air. I can't stand the violence much longer. Somebody say a prayer. New York got me so upset. Ferguson makes me lose my rest. Now everybody knows about Baltimore, goddamn. Now this is not a show tune. This is real life. It's all over the news. You may have seen it too. Baltimore is more than the wire, but the lack of equality makes me wanna holler. Mothers losing their children to violence. Fear from snitching has everyone silent. Lord, have mercy on this land of mine. I pray healing will happen in due time. It's not safe here, it may be safe there. Fear blinds you, somebody say a prayer. Don't tell me, I'll tell you. Reparations and atonement are overdue. I live in this reality, so I know they keep on saying go slow. Waiting for progress, too slow. You'll get yours in time, too slow. Why are you so angry? Too. We had a black president, too slow. The end of racism, too slow. You think I'm crazy? Where am I going? What am I doing? I don't know. I don't know. Just try to do your very best. Stand up and be counted with all the rest. For everybody knows about Mississippi, goddamn! I mean, do we have to bring up the past? I mean, haven't you people healed from slavery and lynching? I mean, that was such a long time ago. Oh, look at me. I'm a descendant of those who built this country for free. But you don't want to acknowledge that. So many promises made, but look at where we're at. Yes, you lied to me all these years. Told me get my education and we would be peers and speak the Queen's English like a fair lady. And you stopped calling me Sister Pickaninny Sadie. This whole country is full of lies. They will be revealed in due time. I don't trust that you will help anymore. You keep on saying go slow, but that's just the trouble. Too slow, 5 acres and a mule. Too slow, fair education. Too slow, women's rights. To stop building those prisons. The end of violence. Why don't you feel it? Why don't you see it? I don't know. I don't know. We can live next to each other, you see, and I claim my equality. Cause everybody knows about Cleveland. Everybody knows about Mississippi. Everybody knows about Baltimore. God damn.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that every man should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do, though I'm way overdue. I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if by my heart I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing, cause I know, yeah. Not sing, cause I know, yeah. Then I'd sing.